Ready for your fast pass to the perfect vacation? This is Talk Travel to Me. Join host Kristy Ouellette and the Mickey Guru team for one big travel question every episode. Solo insights or expert roundtables, all with a sprinkle of magic and the ultimate insider edge. Fasten your seatbelt. It's time to talk travel.
Hey traveler, welcome back to Talk Travel to Me. This week I'm flying solo and answering the question, what do you actually need in your theme park bag? Let's talk about it. So I'm going to start out in full transparency. This is kind of a trick question for me to answer because if I can help it, I don't carry a bag into the theme parks at all. Now this isn't easily done unless I'm traveling with my husband, who is the carrier of all the things. I have noticed, though, recently that he's becoming increasingly grumpy about this role, so I'm starting to wonder if I might be nearing the end of the nearly 28-year-old use of this particular pack mule. But the result is someone's going to carry a bag and what needs to be in it. I do find a lot of this content out on social media and crack up at some of the things that people believe they must have in their bag. So let's start with the size of the bag that you're going to bring in. If you're bringing one of those school backpacks, like those big things, you're going to fill it. There's no question about that. You bring a bag that is, how do they measure bags anyway? Okay. A bag that's like bigger than a backpack or a backpack, you'll fill it. If you bring a belt bag, which for those of us that are Gen X, it's a fanny pack. We're just calling it a belt bag now. You'll fill the belt bag. I do like a crossbody bag. I feel like that's kind of like that mid-range. And I have a couple of them because people were like, oh, she likes these. We're going to get them for her. So I have like a Haunted Mansion one and I have a black one. And I have so crossbody bags are good. I also tend to like to carry like a Loungefly style backpack just because it's cute and you can match it to like the park or whatever that you're doing. But those are like the small bags that I would consider. Big bags, unless you have children, which we will absolutely get to, what I think needs to be in there for them. If you're an adult or you're going with older children, teenagers, like you don't need a big old backpack. Right? Small ones are fine. This is especially important if you're at Universal because you can't take bags on most of their rides, and they do provide free lockers at the ride entrance, but only for small lockers. So I did travel once with a friend that had like a big backpack, and she had to pay every single time we went to a new attraction. She had to pay again for a large locker. My goodness, unless there's gold in that backpack, there's no reason for that. None at all. So I think that's something to keep in mind. The drawstring bags, they look cute. And if you're only putting a couple little things in there, fine. But whenever you start to put any weight in those, the ropes that are the strings on the bags actually start to hurt. Me anyway. If I'm a baby, that's fine. I definitely have tender feet and walking around, and people think that that's kind of crazy. But the idea of the backpack with the strings, it's not for me. It's not for me. So now that we've talked about the type of bag, what goes in the bag? Well, it depends a lot on the season. If I'm traveling to theme parks in November, December, January, I actually don't usually carry anything at all. I can fit what I need in my pockets, either in my sweatshirt pockets or my pants pockets. And I'm really good at that because I don't need a whole lot during those seasons. But when you go and it is warmer weather, you need stuff. There's just no way you can get around it. So in that warmer weather especially, we need sunscreen, hats, sunglasses. I wear regular glasses for distance, and the contacts work for that, but the readers don't work for that, so I have to slide readers in there. I bring my glasses in case my eyes tweak out and don't want the contacts for some reason. So those are things that like have to be in there. Also, prescription meds. If there's anything you need to take between the time you leave your hotel room and the time you're planning to get back, you got to bring that with you. Hand wipes, hand sanitizer. I personally prefer hand wipes, the sanitizing hand wipes. There's all different kinds you can get. But I like that because a lot of times it's not just that your hands need to be degermified. They actually need to be wiped off. And if you're not in a spot where you can get to a bathroom easily, you want to be able to just whip out the wipes, wipe your hands off, and keep moving. So those are really important in my mind for everybody, really. Let's see, what else? A phone charger, because when you are on your phone, either taking pictures or managing lightning lanes or checking out ride wait times, all of that eats up your battery life. So that is something that is an absolute must. If you're over at Disney, you can use fuel rods and then swap them in and out for free. You can also do that at Universal, but they're not free. Universal and Fuel Rod have a partnership where they allow them to charge you for the swaps. So that's an important thing. If you're used to Disney and you go over there, that hurt the first time. I want to say it was like $3 for a swap, which is not the end of the world, right? But also it's annoying when you know you can get it free down the street. So there's that. I don't bring a full wallet because I have my Apple phone. I use my wallet. All my credit cards are in there, but I do bring my driver's license because if for some reason you need to prove who you are, whether it's to get through the turnstiles, or if you are picking up a purchase, that sort of thing, like you just need your driver's license with you. So I bring that, but not the full wallet. I've actually stopped bringing cash. In fact, that recently was a little bit of a problem because we were trying to tip our boat driver. We did a Epcot fireworks cruise, and as we're sitting on the boat, I realized, oh, we need to tip this guy at the end. He was fabulous. So a little bit of cash makes some sense, especially if you have something like that going on. Otherwise, the theme parks are basically cashless at this point. So having cards in your mobile wallet, that works out great. Maybe gift cards if you've got them, that sort of thing. And a driver's license for sure. Let's see, is there anything else that I purposefully pack? Well, I will tell you that I'm headed to Universal in just a matter of hours now. And one of the things that I have purchased specifically for this trip is a sunbrella. And I know that sounds crazy, but I got a cheap umbrella on Amazon that has SPF built in. This is especially important when you are in parks that have a lot or have not a lot of shade. And I would say Epic Universe is definitely one of those. Epcot is also another one. So having an umbrella that you can use that is lightweight, compact, and has SPF protection really is going to be a game changer when you are in the theme parks on a hot and sunny day. Especially for those of you that really enjoy the Epcot festivals. So you're standing in line for a long time. I got significantly burned recently at Epcot when we were at the Flower and Garden Festival, just waiting in line to get some of the food and drinks. So that sunbrella is great. And it's only, I think it was $10. It's not a lot. It's tiny. So it's going to fit great in my backpack for sure. It would not fit in a crossbody though. So I will show you with the social media posts that go along with this episode. I will absolutely show you what we have for that and what bag I'm bringing to Universal because I think it's going to be helpful. Now let's talk about the things I should carry but usually forget at home. First up is a personal fan. I have at least 2 of them. We did try neck fans at one point and they broke before we even left home, so I'm not a fan of those. But I do have a personal fan that actually, I was given as a gift from Universal Orlando at one point. And that one has like a little AC kind of unit in it. But I usually forget it and leave it on my office shelf. So I did pull it out for this next trip. Hopefully it makes it into the bag. Cooling towels. Like, I love the Frog Tog cooling towels. I will say I'm a bit of a germaphobe, so I have to have my own, and no one is allowed to share it, even my husband. Like, I don't want anybody else wiping their sweat on it. So they are big. I typically, when I buy them, I buy one and then I cut it into 2 pieces. You really could probably get away with cutting it into thirds, and then each person gets their own with a labeled Ziploc bag. But again, it most often ends up stuck in my bathroom closet and not in my park bag. So, but it should go there. If you haven't got one of those and you're going during warm times, you want to get that. Chafing gel or body glide. This is great for any areas of your body that may chafe. So if you have an issue with certain spots on your feet, rubbing in certain shoes, it's also really helpful if you have like your thighs rubbed together, like 99.9% of women in the United States. Like you put a little bit of that on in the morning, and then when you stop by the restroom, you just do another little piece of it. It really helps. Most important if you're not wearing like chafing or anti-chafing shorts, which that's my other game changer. The reason this stays in the cabinet longer now is I wear shorts or dresses that have the anti-chafing built into them, which makes a huge difference. But I will say on my last trip, I could have used it for my feet. So it's definitely making its way out of the closet and into my bag this time. Refillable water bottles, especially at Universal, because Universal has those Coca-Cola Freestyle machines all over the place with ice, and you can use your refillable water bottles to get free water and ice right from the machines. Disney doesn't have that set up, so when you're at a Disney theme park, you have to go up and ask for ice water if that's what you want. But they do have some bottle refilling stations, so it can save you some time. For me personally, I need it at Universal because I like ice in my water, and I'm not using like this little separate water bottle refilling stations. I need the ice. So that's a big one. The other thing that should make it into my bag every single time is moleskin. If you know, you know, but if you are prone to blisters, this is the kind of thing you need to have in your park bag. Have them either cut into a variety of sizes, or bring a tiny pair of scissors in there so that you can cut them on the go. But when you start to feel a when you start to feel a blister forming, maybe your body glide failed, or you didn't put enough, or whatever, you want to start and put on that moleskin right away so that the blister doesn't actually take hold, because there is nothing like walking 6 miles a day in a theme park with a big old blister on your toe. You don't want that. All right, so here are some things that other people carry that I do not, and I'll explain why. So a sewing kit. I'm almost 50. I'll be 50 in June. Never have I ever needed to suddenly sew something. I have been with people that have a sewing kit. I am intrigued by the idea of having one. However, never have I ever. So the idea that I would have this sewing emergency in the middle of a theme park is just not realistic for me. First aid kit is another thing that I don't bring. Now, there's a caveat here. When my child was a child, I did carry Band-Aids and ointment and that kind of thing, because with kids, you just never know when you might need something like that. But as an adult, if I need a first aid kit or anything that would be in it, or let's say I need a Tylenol or an Advil, that sort of thing, Disney and Universal have well-stocked first aid centers, and they don't charge you. So I have absolutely gone into them and said, hey, I'm having a headache. Could I get some Tylenol? And you fill out a little form. They tell you, like, are you drinking? And you basically give them your information that says, like, yes, you're taking this medication, which I don't know why, really, unless it's to justify their existence, maybe. but then they'll give you the 2 Tylenol and send you on your way. So I don't feel the need to carry it. The only caveat here is if you have prescription medications, obviously you need that with you. And then if you know you're going to need Tylenol because you know you've got an issue, or you Advil or what have you, it makes sense to bring it. It doesn't usually take up much room. However, honestly, I'd rather use theirs. And like I said, there's no charge for it. You go in, you can relax in the air conditioning for a little bit when they give it to you. And they're super nice. They're great people to talk to. So I don't bother with that. Another thing that I don't bring, which causes a lot of drama sometimes in my own family and sometimes among travel groups, I don't bring ponchos. So ponchos absolutely can be necessary in Central Florida at the theme parks when there is going to be like a rainstorm, which is honestly all summer and into the early fall. In the late afternoon, you have a rainstorm, thunderstorms almost every day. I don't like feeling like steamed broccoli. And when it is 95 degrees and raining, when you put one of those plastic ponchos on, that's what you feel like. So a poncho's not it for me. I know a lot of people like them, especially if you're going on rides. My husband last week actually wore a raincoat, all like locked in, when we went on Tiana's Bayou Adventure. Everybody's different, but for me, that's something that the poncho thing, I'm just like, no thanks. Also, if I need a poncho because there's a specifically wet day that I just can't get by without it, I'm just going to buy one. Is it bougie? Yes, because I'm paying $15 for a poncho when I could have bought 15 of them at the Dollar Tree for that price. But I am of the mindset that I'm probably not going to use it, so I'm not going to go buy them there. And if I need it, I'll just buy it. So those are some things that I see a lot of people talk about putting in that bag that I just am like, no. So the last piece for the adult traveler, or for the generic traveler, I guess, I asked our agents at Mickey Guru Travel Company what they always have in their bags. So Danielle and James said that they actually carry water, not just an empty water bottle, because Beth has that covered, but James and Danielle are like water. Jen Sutton said extra socks. This is very popular, and I am fascinated by this because if my shoes get wet, whether it's raining, whether I've gone on a ride, what have you, my shoes get wet and I take my socks off and put new dry socks on and put them in my shoes, they're going to be wet again, right? I've never done this, but that's what goes through my head. I'm like, well, why would I carry dry socks? Because I've got to put the same shoes on. So Jen and anybody else listening, if I'm off on that, let me know. But I thought the extra socks thing was really interesting. Danielle and Darcy also talked about snacks. And I do have that on the list of things that you'd want to bring if you have a child with you. But don't sleep on the idea that you might have members of your adult or older kid party that are hangry in line, and maybe having meat sticks or applesauce pouches or, like pretzels, goldfish, whatever might be helpful. I know that Shalon has been doing the whole 30 food plan. And when we were with her at the parks, she had meat sticks. She had all kinds of things that were approved for what she was eating, her dietary needs at the time. So if you need snacks, specific things, do that. I don't bring snacks. I used to, obviously, when I had a child, but now it's like, if I'm hungry, I'm getting a Mickey pretzel. If I'm hungry, I'm going over there and getting a fruit-covered waffle. I'm doing the park things. But I know if you have specific needs, or if you are traveling with littles, that's a definite need. Basically, everybody said a battery pack. Darcy, Jess, Kelly, Shalon, Danielle. We all know that, like, when you're jumping into the theme park for a full day, you need to have a battery pack to recharge your phone. Tara mentioned the Body Glide that I mentioned as well. Hand sanitizer, Hannah and Jess are on that game for sure. Hannah also mentioned hydration sticks, which I left off my list originally, but you better believe I have liquid IV sticks in my bag. And on the last trip, I actually had like 15 of them. I only ever use one a day, but why I carried a baggie of 15 of these little sticks around, I don't really know. They're going to go back in the bag though for Universal next week. Nicole mentioned that she does bring her wallet. Kelly said a neck fan. Hello. Shalon, perhaps my favorite answer came from Shalon. Not that I play favorites, but she mentioned deodorant. And I went, oh yeah, especially if it's a hot day. Bring yourself some deodorant. Get the little travel size one. Doesn't take up much room. You and your traveling companions and people around you in line, I'm sure, would very much appreciate that. Sunglasses for sure. Sammy, Lacey, and I. Lacey also mentioned the moleskin and band-aids. And then Sammy came up with one that is again something that is in my home. I have bought multiple times and almost always forget it and leave it here. And that is chapstick with SPF. Because if you don't think your lips will burn at the theme parks, you're wrong. You're wrong. So that is a huge help, especially if you are going in the warmer season when the sun is going to be blaring on you as you're making your way around. So let's talk now about the additional things that you definitely need in your bag when you're traveling with kids. First and foremost, you need two complete sets of extra clothes in Ziploc bags. So you have outfit number 1, shirt, underwear, shorts, socks, all in one, and then another one with just like that. I also recommend that you bring a bathing suit with you to the park. Now, you're not going swimming at Magic Kingdom. We all know that. But they do have the Casey's Junior Soak Station. Is that what it's called? The area where like the water is flowing and the kids can just run around in there. Epcot has something similar where you can go and just get wet and cool off. So having that bathing suit or clothes that are easily, that are fine to get wet and then you can change them out of, that's cool too. For that reason, you want to have maybe a set of water shoes or water socks, sandals, something like that. But have that two complete sets of extra clothes because inevitably you will be in the park with your 5-year-old and they'll either spill something all over themselves, they'll have an accident because you waited too long to go to the bathroom and the lines were too long. So that, all of that kind of stuff is happening. And then obviously, like if they get wet, if it rains, any of that stuff. The question I have for you all that are listening that have children, I'm curious when you stop carrying the extra outfits. Because that's something that I've been thinking a lot about, and I don't remember how old my daughter was when we stopped carrying those. But I know it was probably later than people would expect because I wasn't worried about toileting accidents only. I was looking at we've had some major messes with those melty Mickey ice cream bars. We've also had issues where it pours and you get completely soaked and then you're like, uh-oh, we want to change clothes. And having that all with you is really great. I do think one extra pair of shoes is probably good. But like I said, you could, if you're going to use sandals or maybe an extra pair of sneakers, what have you, having that option can be good, especially since, as adults, your feet can get tired throughout the day. And if you've got one pair of sneakers, they're going to rub a little differently than a pair of sandals will, or another pair of sneakers even. So, we talked a little bit about snacks already. I highly recommend if you are traveling with littles to bring some of their favorite snacks. So whether that be goldfish or, like I mentioned, applesauce pouches or trail mix, anything that they would eat at home and be happy to do is going to save you time and money. You don't need to be running for a Mickey pretzel and paying, what is it, $7.50 now? $7.50, $8 for a Mickey pretzel, I think, with cheese. So you can just have things in your bag. So when they're like, I'm hungry, you can hand them to them. one of my favorite things to bring, and I'm cracking up when I say it because it's become a thing in my group at the moment, is Baby Bell cheese. Because it's cheese, you can carry it in your bag, and it doesn't need to be refrigerated if you're using it the same day. I don't know that I would do it for multiple days, but like throw a Baby Bell in there. So that's a little bit of protein, meat sticks, anything that your kiddos will eat. It's a great distraction for lines, but it also, like, they're going to be like, I'm hungry. And if you don't want to stop for a special snack, once an hour, it might be good to have things like that. I also really think that dried fruit without the sugar tends to be a good thing. And don't forget the water bottles for your kiddos. I know they don't usually ask for water, but if you're not paying attention because you're really locked in on meeting Aladdin and Jasmine, they can get dehydrated really fast. So making sure that you have a water bottle or cup specifically for them so that you're making sure they're getting plenty of liquids in, that's really, really important too. Now I'd love to hear, either you can text the show or pop in on the comments on social media, but I'd love to hear what you think is a necessity in your theme park bag. Okay? I'm curious about this, and I really want to hear about it. Special thanks to our team at Mickey Guru Travel Company for sharing their must-haves. And here we go. That's one more question unpacked. If you have a travel stumper that you want me to tackle, or if you're ready to let a pro handle the heavy lifting for your next getaway, come find us at MickeyGuru.com or take a peek at the show notes for other contact info. We're asking questions about the things you put in your park bag over on Instagram and TikTok, so come join the conversation. The handle on both locations is @TalkTravelToMePod. See you next week, where we'll be answering the question, what are 3 things you should absolutely not do at the airport? See you real soon, traveler.
Thanks for listening to Talk Travel to Me. We hope this episode cracked open inspiration for the treasures that await you at your next dream destination. If you love the show, please review, subscribe, and share it with a friend. At Mickey Guru Travel Company, we're your trusted guides for theme parks, cruises, resorts, and more. Visit our website at MickeyGuru.com to learn more and book your vacation today.